Welcome, Andy Sullivan from Blue Collar Corner. I have a special guest, Mr. Peter King, Congressman from Long Island. Mr. King, thank you for coming by and seeing us.
Thank you. Thanks for being
here. Okay, this terror trial. I know this is something you feel very passionate about. Yeah. And am I correct? You just came back from testifying at one of the 9/11, being the ranking member of the House Homeland Security Committee. True?
Yeah, I was actually down to the New York City Council, and I was invited by Peter Vallone, who was, I believe, the chairman of the Public Safety Committee. I've known both Peter and his father for a number of years, and he was one of the few Democrats in New York who actually spoke out against these trials. And he and Margaret Hsu, she's the, I think, chairman of the Lower Manhattan Committee, and they had a joint hearing. And basically, I was there to testify why it's so wrong to have the 9/11 trials in New York. And even though the president has indicated the trials are coming out, they haven't made a decision yet. So I was stressing how important it is for the city council to keep the pressure on, and the community to keep the pressure on, and the entire city, because this it's not over yet. Despite what the president says, and despite what the Attorney General is indicating, the fact is that they have not said it's coming out, and they have not come up with a new site. And what bothers me about this, among everything else, is that this decision was made originally without consulting anyone in New York. The mayor wasn't consulted, the police commissioner wasn't consulted, the community wasn't consulted, and it really showed an ideological bias and an ideologically driven agenda by the Attorney General and the President. So it never should have been there in the first place, and I just don't want anyone to let their guard down and suddenly we find the trial is going ahead.
I find that stunning, first of all, that they didn't consult with any of these people. But as far as this administration, wasn't Holder previously defending terrorists in his practice? Yeah, he was private practice?
He was the law firm with Covington and Burling. He was the Washington law firm, excuse me, and a number of the lawyers in his firm represented the detainees at Guantanamo. So it's really interesting when you have the Obama administration being critical of the Bush administration for not having more cases before the tribunals. They're saying, well, if you had these tribunals, why didn't the Bush administration have more cases before the tribunals? Because people like Eric Holder and other lawyers, they kept going to court to stop the tribunals.
Right. And
it wasn't really until within the last several years that the Supreme Court finally validated the type of tribunal system we have now. So it's, Eric Holder definitely has a bias. There's no doubt about it. He comes from a very liberal background, and he is committed, I believe, to have these trials in New York. Now it's sort of blowing up in his face,
right.
And you have some late-coming Democrats who are now also joining.
Schumer, Gillibrand.
Right, and again, not Peter Vallone. He was there from the start, but really, other than that, it was very.
We'll credit Mr. Vallone for that.
Okay, it was. It was. I'm not being a martyr here, but I was very lonely, being, as far as I know, the only member of Congress in the entire New York region who came out against these trials from the very first day.
I was there that day. You were down by the financial district, yeah, with Deborah Burlingame and Andrew McCarthy, I believe.
Yeah, it was over Battery Park. And
Battery Park.
Yeah,
right.
And we had a number of relatives of firefighters, and we had
Tim Brown.
Tim Brown did a great job that day. I believe there was firefighter Regan, I think his name was.
Right.
He was his father had been killed, and I know it was very, very moving. But this was definitely a grassroots movement against the trials. But again, Holder and President Obama, they just wanted to have them. Now they're sort of boxed in, but this is not over until it's over.
I agree. I feel also with the healthcare issue. I don't believe this healthcare issue is over. Now they're talking about this healthcare summit, which I'm extremely leery of. I don't trust them at all. But Obama supposedly has come out with his own healthcare plan, and it's supposed to be posted today. And then on Thursday is the summit. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Joe Biden says that the administration has gotten the message. They've not gotten the message. The American people are not outraged about a particular part of the Obama plan. It's not a semicolon or a comma. The fact is they're against the entire concept, the American people are, of having the government run health care, and that's what the Obama plan is. And I don't think President Obama realizes that, or if he does realize it, he still wants to somehow try to ram his plan through. I have to see what his new one is going to be. My own feeling is it's probably just a variation of his plan that's already in effect now, that's already on the table now. He'll modify that somewhat. He'll have the summit on Thursday. It's probably not going to go anywhere at the summit. And then the president will try to ram through his plan through what they call the reconciliation process,
Right.
which means you can do it just on 51 votes.
That's that term going nuclear means, using the
Yeah.
reconciliation.
Yeah.
Ordinarily used for small budget items, now they're trying to
Yeah, they would.
somehow manipulate it.
Yeah, you can generally only use reconciliation, which means that you can't have a filibuster against it. You can do it with 51 votes. If it just involves basically money issues.
Right.
And so they would have to sort of take out of the health care bill anything that's really of substance and try to limit it just to money.
Would you have to break it up?
Yeah, they may, and it's really what they're really being cute. I mean, they are trying to really use and abuse the rules. Can they do it? I don't know. Actually, politically, I almost hope they do, because it'll be I think, lead to a terrible defeat for Democrats.
Yeah.
On the other hand, for the good of the country, I don't want it to go through. Because once these are in place, once you get a plan like this in place, it's very hard to dismantle it, because all the hospitals and doctors and insurance companies in the country would have to start gearing themselves toward accommodating this plan. So assuming Republicans took over in 2013 or 2017, it's hard to dismantle something that's in place. And so again, politically, yeah, it would probably be good for us, I'm saying, for Republicans,
Sure,
conservatives, Reagan Democrats, it would be good for us politically to have the president ram this bill through. This would really antagonize the American people, and I think drive the Democrats out of office. But there would also be lasting damage done.
That's a good point you brought up about if it going through, we have an advantage. Now, say it doesn't go through. Say and once again they paint us as the obstructionists, as the party of no. We hate seniors,
Right.
illegal immigrants. We're using the heads of babies to play polo with. The worst possible thing they're going to paint the party as. Do you think that will have an impact? I mean, it seems the blame Bush mantra is almost run its course,
Right.
and now he's going to need something else. If this healthcare doesn't go through, I feel like he's going to substitute the blame Bush mantra with, well, I had healthcare, and healthcare is related to everything, and that's why things are in disarray at this point in my administration. And then blame the Republicans.
He will try it, but it's up to us as Republicans to not let him get away with that. And the fact is, he has an 80-vote majority in the House. He has a 18-vote majority in the Senate. It was 20 votes. So no, they have no one to blame it themselves. And he will try to do it. He'll blame it on us. He'll blame it on Rush Limbaugh. He'll blame it on George Bush.
Sure.
I think he blamed Scott Brown's election in Massachusetts on George Bush. People were so mad at George Bush, they took it out on Ted Kennedy.
That makes a lot of sense.
So anyway, but I don't mind having that fight. I mean, if he's for the president who's supposed to bring hope and change and a new way of doing things, all he's doing is looking backward and trying to attack President Bush or attacking Republicans. So to me, it's not going to work. I think the American people are sort of tired of what they've been seeing from President Obama, and I've been in politics a long time, and you can win or lose on particular issues and come back. When people start to get tired of you, it's hard to come back from that. Now, listen, it's still early in his administration, but he really runs a risk of just wearing people out with the same excuse after excuse. It's one thing if you raise an issue and you lose on that issue, okay, you can get back and fight another day. But if you lose because the American people just have lost trust in you and lost faith in you and are tired of listening to you, making the same old tired arguments, then it's hard to recover from that.
It is, I agree. John Brennan, the security, White House security.
Right, Homeland Security Advisor. I think his official title is Assistant he's the Assistant National Security Advisor, which means he's in charge of Homeland Security in the White House.
He came out the other day and was quoting some numbers about terrorists that are let go and the ratio that actually go back to terrorism. And I think it was 5-to-1 ratio. One of them go.
One out of five returns. Yeah, basically 20% of terrorists who are released go back to being terrorists.
And he was very happy with that. I mean, he actually compared it with our penal system, saying, half of those guys go back. We're doing real good because only 20% of them go back.
Yeah.